Bon dia a tothom, bonjour à tous. I switch directly to English as the attendees today will be both French and Catalan. Well, my name is Christophe Arnoul. I'm the director of Axio Catalonia Trade Investment Office in France. Our office based in Paris covers all the French market. We are basically helping Catalan companies to access and grow into this market. We also work on attracting foreign investment to Catalonia, French investment to Catalonia. And we are here also to foster collaborative innovation, R&D and innovation projects between French and Catalan companies. In one word, we are working on connecting business ecosystem together. And I think that the presentation and the session of today is a good example of what we do. And I'm really thrilled to open it. Before I start, just a few words about AI in France. France is a heavy player in Europe in terms of AI. We have more than 450 startups. The VC investment in this field has been multiplied by 10 between 2015 and 2019. As you may know, Facebook chose France to set up its the only R&D center working on AI outside the US. And our government is really supporting artificial intelligence. We have a big national plan for AI since 2018 with more than 1.5 million budget, and the recovery plan of France will have a significant part of its budget dedicated to AI. So today we will have a lot of very interesting speakers to talk about this. So let me introduce the session. We will first have a 15-minute session with Antoine Couret, who is the president of HUB FranceIA, an association that gathers all the initiatives in terms of AI in France, bringing together startups, corporates, investors, and R&D centers. Thank you very much, Antoine, for being here today with us. Then we will switch to the presentation of 5 of the most active VCs we have in France investing in AI. And I'm really glad that they could make it today. We will have Iris Capital, Daphni, Cathay Innovation, Breega, and Aster. Thank you very much, guys, for being here today. And at the end of the session, we will switch to a private session when the VCs are going to meet 7 Catalan startups that we selected from Axio. This is a part of the work we do. We select the startups following the investment criteria of the VCs, and they will be able to pitch in front of them. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with you, Antoine. I guess, okay, if you can join us in the screen and just activate your mic. Okay, perfect. So before I start, I've got 3 questions for you, Antoine. The objective is to have an idea of to have your insight. We will be very glad to have your insight about AI at the European scale and in France particularly. But so before we start, maybe you could introduce what is HUB FranceIA, and my first question will be about the challenges that there are in terms of AI at the European scale. Antoine, the screen is yours. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks a lot, Christophe. Thanks a lot also Acho to invite me for this great event. Just so and hello everybody. So indeed, so for you in Catalonia, France. I think I can show my presentation. For that. FranceIA Hub is indeed an ecosystem that we created now 4 years ago now, just while in France we have we worked on the FranceIA plan, which go to AI for humanity. And FranceIA Hub is based on mainly on matching as well AI providers and AI users with a mix between startups, academics, and also private and public companies in France and in Europe as well. Because we really think that the good way to go to AI, especially to industrial and operationally AI, is to create such ecosystem because AI is quite transversal in many companies. So it's mainly based on how we create ecosystem to boost AI deployment. So the right mix is based on that as well. AI providers, we startup, scale-up companies and academics, mainly because it's not such easy for startups to go to large companies on industrial projects, and so they must be fed by as well academics, but also of course by investment and funding. And the other part is that indeed we need also to boost this kind of company, startup AI and startups or AI companies, especially with the support of public bodies in France and Europe. Like Christophe said, in France we have a 1.5 billion plan on AI supported by the government, but also in different countries in Europe there are many public investment plan. For example, in the Netherlands, there is also 300 million investment plan. And of course, but there will be a special session just after about funding from the VC, which is quite important because, as you know, in Europe, the funding ecosystem is important, but is not as important as what it could be in the US or in China, whereas the investment in AI are even much bigger, because the investment in AI and globally is around 80% share between US and China, and only 5% in Europe. So we have still some challenge to tackle. On your question, Christophe, what are the main AI impact in Europe? I guess that why we would like to boost AI in France and also in Europe is that based on many studies here, it's one from Accenture, but we have the same for KPMG or Twice or PwC or so on, is that AI globally will have a large impact on GDP in the next 10 years, which is close to 20%. So basically, once European GDP is close to something like $17 trillion, it's close to 3 trillion impact. So it's quite huge. But as you can see on the right, the AI diffusion is not, even if we talk a lot about AI in Europe, the AI diffusion operationally is not as big, because at the average, we have a 7% AI diffusion in Europe. It's based on the European Commission study, whereas France is at 7%, and Spain is even is ahead with a 9% AI diffusion in the industry. So the main impact we have is that the fact are there is that there will be an impact on the European economy, but we are not yet ready. And on that point, we consider that there are two main questions to make AI operational, not only to keep AI whether on the R&D side or only in the startup. So we must deploy AI, and to deploy AI, public bodies or even large companies must have two insights. The first one is confidence, and the second one is performance. So that the 2 points that we must work on as an AI ecosystem is to give trust and to prove also how performance should be improved with AI. So it's the first point, operational AI, and the second point also is, as you know, European is quite something like multicultural patchwork. So of course, I really appreciate when Christophe and Sophie proposed us to have this kind of meeting, because we are, of course, we are very invested in France to boost AI in France, but we are even more invested at the European scale because we are definitely we definitely think that there will not be a strong European AI ecosystem if it's only local and national ecosystem. The European will have really an impact on operational AI only if we can connect the different countries all together. And that's really our goal, because of course, as you know, European researchers on AI have a big impact in the world. In France, there are at least 10 or 15 large AI companies where AI departments are led by French guys like Facebook, Christian Lequin, or Jean Pesanti at Netflix. You know, so that Luc Julia used to be at Apple, and now it's at Renault. But now something that we must make AI guys come back to European companies and scale these companies at very operational AI economy.
Okay, so challenge is huge, but I think that HUB FranceIA was designed to help all European players to work together. Very interesting. As you told before, it's true that the US and China are really the big players in the world. But as I said before, France is a heavy player in Europe, and it has a big role to play in this in the development of the use and the diffusion of AI. So could you make us a panorama of the ecosystem in France and tell us about R&D, startup funding? How is the panorama in France? We're very interested.
Yes, indeed. Since it's indeed on R&D startups and funding, so it's a very short FranceIA landscape, mainly based on startup on that side, because I think that a startup cooperation in Europe will be also one of the ways to make European AI ecosystem strong. As you know, there are also a large R&D ecosystem in France, even very close to you, because there is, especially in Occitanie, there is a very strong ecosystem which is based on Occitanie data, as well in Toulouse and Montpellier. And so there are also large investment as well on R&D with Occitanie data, which is mainly based on data sharing, data exchange, and so on, but also on with Unity, which is maybe, as you know, there in France there are 4 new AI institutes on R&D, one in Paris, one in Grenoble, especially on that point, which is hardware, in Nice, and also in Toulouse, which is called Unity. And in Toulouse, it's mainly based on industrial, on robotics, also on autonomous vehicle, on AI algorithm certification. On the startup side, we used to make the AI landscape with BPI France, that where we saw that there are more than 500 French startups on AI, but that we now are going to labelize in the next years, because we are actually considering how to labelize an AI startup, which is not that easy. And we will start this process of labelization in 2022. And of course, as you know, there is also large funding because since the beginning there was more than 5 billion euro funding in AI in these different startups. As you can see on the slides, what we do also with BPI France, which is a French market of investment, is that we try also to segment the different startups, and so we consider that there are four main ways where we must invest. The first one is on infrastructure, especially on processor. Here on Calais, there is also another way, which is a processor, and Lighton is the next generation of processor, especially based on photonics and optical processing, which is very interesting to faster AI learning, and also especially with scalability on how to boost and accelerate access to data. We have also all the platform and software AI tools or toolkits and so on, to whether quite large with Alia or Daphni, or also very focused on some points of AI on computer vision, text, voice, and so on. And there are also startups on the application side, so mainly focus on say operational process, whether support process like HR, finance, and so on, or industrial process like banking, mobility, and so on. So of course there are much more startups on that point. We have strong ecosystem, especially in fintech, industry, healthcare, and mobility, and also on that point on the AI tools. And of course, what is interesting also is potentially after this session, we will be very open also to discuss with Aster how to connect potential French startups with Catalonia startups, or even French academics, because are now, especially on funding, to develop more and more a strong AI project. There are more bilateral cooperation. We started bilateral cooperation, especially with Germany, with the first bilateral call between France and Germany. We have no actual discussion with the Netherlands for 2022, but of course it will be a pleasure to have a discussion with Catalonia and potentially to have some bilateral project between Catalonia and French startups.
Okay, great. So we will be very pleased to do that. As I said before, we are here to connect business ecosystems. So I'm sure that in the audience, there are a lot of startups willing to collaborate with French startups, and we will be here to do that. Okay, so we have 5 minutes left. Could you give us any examples of relevant projects, or do you see synergies between France and Catalonia? Antoine?
Yes, potential. I think that I will have a much better view in the next hours on the Catalonia ecosystem and how we could create project on that. As you know, we are very focused on the AI ecosystem. So of course on the French one, also on at the European level, because we have also a European Applied AI Alliance. We have also European AI Forum. We have every 6 months when the European Commission change, so in June and December. As you know, we are also very we work a lot with GAIA, and the HUB FranceIA is also creating the European Digital Sovereignty Federation, which will be European. So it will be also a pleasure to discuss with Generalitat de Catalunya and some potential Catalonia members. And if we go to the use case, as you can see, and maybe as you understood, we are very focused on creating ecosystem, but we only think that the best way to boost operational AI in France and in Europe. So here you have 4 examples of ecosystem which have been created in France. The first one, which is the AgData, focus on agriculture data sharing, and also to mainly focus on how to optimize agriculture, to optimize intrant, and to lower the green impact of agriculture. So it's very industrial, very operational, very ground-based. The second one is it's another ecosystem which is much more technical. It's the Voice Lab, so it's also a foundation with more than 40 members dedicated to the voice and text ecosystem, because the fact is that in Europe, as you know, we have a different language. We don't have only English. So if we want to scale at the European level, we must be able also to manage these different languages as well for speech to text, text to speech, translation, and so on. The third one is also a foundation, especially in the logistic and supply chain industry, especially focus on green impact of logistics, which is a big question because transportation is something like 40% of the gas emission in Europe, and also focus on multimodal, say how we can move transportation from trucks to potentially train or even boats on the different European rivers. And the last one is more technical as well, which is ALEA. It's really an industrial platform to develop an AI application with already 10 AI software partners, and of course we will be on ALEA very open to open the ecosystem, the software partners to Catalonia software editors as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Antoine. Some projects that are already running, so we will be all the startups interested into connecting to you. Just feel free to contact us, and we'll be working together, Antoine. Thank you very much for being here today with us and to share your insight with us. Now we'll give the floor.
And indeed, we're very open to contact Christophe and Antoine.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Antoine. So now I will give the screen to Uriel Sanz, our startup manager in Axio Barcelona, and Uriel will introduce our VCs that are present today. Thank you very much, Uriel. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Christophe, and thank you, Antoine, for the presentation, the insights you've shared about the artificial intelligence sector in France and trends, and also specific examples, and also going to a European level. Well, I'm Uriel Sanz, as Christophe has said, and I work as a senior startups manager at Catalonia Trader Investment and Axio. Regarding our startups, we advise them on the best funding mix, and we promote the internationalization of the ecosystem and its startups, and with a special focus on deep tech and life sciences. In terms of, we also try to help them in terms of accessing to international funding, accessing to markets with our more than 40 offices around the world, access to talent also, and also access to managerial capabilities. So let me remind you that there's a chat where you can ask questions to the venture capitalists, and please, venture capitalists, have your presentations ready, because your pitching session is going to start. And if the audience has any question, please specify to whom you are asking that question. Okay, so the first fund is Aster, that is going to be introduced by Ubaldo Mafrici. Please, Ubaldo, the screen is yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Great. So let me share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, not in a full screen mode, but we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Now should be full screen, right? Great.
Right.
So thanks a lot for inviting me today. It's a pleasure for me to present Aster here. So basically, maybe first just some words about me. I'm working at Aster as an investment analyst since 1 year and a half, and actually I'm in charge of covering south of Europe and France. So happy to know interesting Spanish startup in our sector. So now I will walk you through who we are, what we do, etc. So basically, Aster is a venture capital fund based in Paris, but we've also offices in London, San Francisco, Tel Aviv, and Nairobi. At the moment, in fact, we're investing two funds. One fund which is focused mostly on Europe and North America, but mostly in Europe, and another one that is investing in energy ventures in the African continent. Basically, Aster exists since 20 years, and we were born as the corporate venture capital of the group Schneider Electric. We were inside Schneider, so up until 2010. Then since 2010, we have become an independent management company, which is now owned by the three current partners. But we kept actually raising funds from large corporates, and this is why basically we have become a specialized fund, because over the year, thanks to our corporate sponsors, especially in the energy, industrial, and mobility sectors, we have developed. We tried to scout for opportunities that were strategic to the innovation streams of our corporate sponsors. Basically, where in which sectors do we invest? We consider ourselves a specialized fund in the sense that we mostly invest in B2B companies that are transforming the mobility and transportation sector and the industrial sector. This is the main focus of our current fund. We invested quite a lot in energy in the past as well, because of our links with Schneider, but mostly now we focus on these two sectors, which is based on our current corporate sponsors, which are Plastic Omnium and Alstom. So we basically we don't limit ourselves to software necessarily. We do a pure digitalization player in this sector. We do deep tech, and we do occasionally some hardware deals. Basically, so where we focus, as I said at the beginning, we have presence in Europe, North America, and Israel, with the investment team where I'm in, because I'm, let's say, all the part in Africa. I'm not directly following them. So we focus in Europe. Then occasionally we look at opportunistic deals also in the US or Israel, where we have some people scouting for local opportunities and for our corporate sponsors. But for instance, in our latest fund, we have 9 companies down in portfolio, and just one it's in the US. All the rest are in Europe. Half of them are in France, let's say. So where we invest at which stage. So we are an early stage investor mostly. We do mostly seed and Series A rounds, and yeah, so basically what we look in companies we are trying to invest. Of course, it's a bit different whether it's a seed deal or a Series A rounds in terms of metrics, in terms of developments of the sales structure, etc. But what we want to see in both in seed and Series A, let's say it's an early sign at least of product market fit. So we rarely invest in a completely no revenues company that let's say we usually look for some sign of product market fit. And yeah, I think that's all on my side. I hope I was clear when presenting Aster. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ping me in the chat.
Okay, thank you very much, Ubaldo. As Ubaldo said, we have the chat, so you can ask questions there. You can ask questions to the VCs there. So thank you very much. Now we know the investment criteria of Aster, and now we're going to move to the next investor, which is Breega, and Camille Thomas will tell us more on the fund. Please, Camille, the stage is yours.
Hi, everybody. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yeah. So
perfect. So let me share my screen. Okay. Just a sec. Google doesn't allow me to share my screen with Zoom, so maybe because I think I have to leave the meeting to be able to share my screen. So maybe we should go on with another VC and then I can come back for the next presentation.
Well, I can try to share my screen. So
okay, as you prefer.
Are you seeing that?
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Then let's do that, and I'll let you know when to go to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. If you can put it full screen. So hi, everybody. I'm Camille. I work as a principal investor at Breega. Breega is originally French, but we like to describe ourselves as a pan-European funders fund focused on early stage tech. So we do investments from seed to Series B stage. So quite a wide range of early stage. You can go to the next slide and even to the following one, I guess, because the next one is only text, so it's going to be a bit boring. Yeah, so great. So as I was mentioning, yeah, we like to describe ourselves as a funders and entrepreneurs fund, and we believe that our positioning is quite unique on the VC market for two reasons. First reason, we only have entrepreneurs or former entrepreneurs into our investment team. So everybody has been a funder before, and it's really important for us in terms of mindset, of approach, of DNA. We believe that it allows us to speak a common language with entrepreneur and of course then accompany them to co-build their success. We also are a very hands-on and operational fund, supported by an in-house operations team that is today 6 full-time people and several people in process of being recruited as well. So those ops guys spend their days supporting our portfolio on several key early stage topics, at least in our view. First one is talent. So we do direct recruitment for our portfolio companies. Last year we closed more than 100 recruitments, and it's going to be probably much more this year. And we recruit at every level, including a lot of C-levels. So we believe it can be quite additional for that reason. We have a biz dev team that is more standard, I would say, in the VC landscape. We have a team dedicated to PR, communications, and marketing, and at last we have a legal team. So those operations people are of course supporting the services for so providing the services for free to our portfolio. So do not hesitate if you have any question on this later. You can move to the next slide. Yeah, so we are quite new on the block, I would say, compared to other friends in the market. So we've been we've really started investing funds in 2015, and we've been growing quite fast since we now have 3 funds and 260 million euros under management. And we are just about to close our first fund that will bring an additional 200 million euros of assets under management, and that will be finalized by the end of the year at the latest. In terms of portfolio performance, we've been quite happy and lucky so far, since I mean, almost 50% of our seed investments have reached the Series A stage already, with several startups that are beyond Series D stage. Some of them that we are convinced soon to be unicorns. So Exotech, Curve, Moneybox are a couple of examples, and we also have a good number of pretty successful and fast-growing companies that we are quite confident in. In terms of scope, maybe to add a word on this, so we are very generalist, especially at seed level, and we do a lot of deep tech, of which naturally artificial intelligence is an important part. So we consider a good number of our startups to be AI startups, or to use AI to offer their services. So really happy to be here today and looking forward to the pitches. And yes, thank you. Yes, you can go to the slide before the last one. Yeah, just regarding our investment geographies, to be more precise about what we mean by Europe. So we started in France in 2015 and jumped to the UK 2 years later. So we've done most of our deals in the UK and France to date. We've started to invest into Southern Europe, and we are planning to open an office in Barcelona in early 2022. So really looking forward to this. And so our coverage of the Spain and Catalonian VC markets is increasing. So we review a lot of startups there. We are probably backing one startup in Spain, 99. We've already have 3 deals in the pipeline for 2021, and hope to do at least 5 deals next year. So really looking forward again to meeting the startups, to meeting more startups in the Spanish and Catalonian ecosystem. Thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Camille, and also it's good news that you're going to open an office here in Barcelona in 2022.
Yes,
so you are very
really
welcome.
exciting.
Good,
I'm
nice.
seeing a question.
Yeah, we're going to answer them after all the presentations. We're going to answer them. Okay, the next we have also Vincent Sabac, and he's going to introduce us to Cathay Innovation and their investment criteria. So go ahead, Vincent.
Hello, everyone. Let me share. Give me 1 second. You should be seeing my screen now.
Yeah, perfect.
So hi, everyone. So I'm part of Cathay Innovation. Cathay Innovation, we're a young venture fund because we're 6 years old, but part of a larger private equity fund that was created in 2007. And our main goal is to help entrepreneurs scale internationally and to help companies scale. Today, we have a full international presence because we were traditionally present in the US, in Paris, and in China. But recently, we've been accelerating very strongly because we've opened offices in Tel Aviv, in Singapore. We've launched a fund in Africa with Afrique Invest. And more recently, and this is, I think, very relevant here, we also signed a partnership with SEAIA to strengthen our presence in Spain and in LATAM. What we do today is really a wide ranging. We invest from seed investments with some of our funds to growth investments. So usually between Series A to Series C. And then we have some private equity funds. On the venture side, the tickets that we invest are usually ranging from 1 million to 50 million that we can invest per line. What is the value that we provide to startups? So today within Cathay, we provide really two things. First of all, we have our global presence that enables us to source deals and see what are the really valuable, the companies that are in advance, or sometimes when there's markets that are behind, what are the opportunities there. We're also able to share knowledge between the different geographies that we operate in to understand what is happening in the different geographies. But on another side, we have a very strong ecosystem and network because we have around 50% of the CAC 40 who are investors in Cathay, strategic investors. We'll also have some in China, such as Alibaba, Tencent, Joyoung, who are investors in Cathay that enables us to really accelerate the companies that we invest in. So here I've put a few examples of portfolio that we've invested in. I've put an emphasis on some of our presence in Spain, in particular in Catalonia, with our investments in Glovo, Wallbox, Housefly, and others. Today we have, I think, 12 unicorns in the portfolio. So we're quite excited, and in the pitches afterwards, we'll be keen to help you scale and make you regional or world leaders and help you in the journey there. And maybe a last word on the team. We're a really global team. Our teams in China are Chinese, our teams in the US are American, and everyone is in the same team, in the same fund. And this is one of the things that really helps, which means that we're all incentivized to make the companies we invest in scale. And so every time that we look at a company, all of those people are here to help when we do the investments. So looking forward to the discussion afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vincent. Those are good news. The partnership with FranceIA and also one of your last investments in Catalonia, Barcelona is Wallbox, which is astonishing and amazing company. Okay, so the next venture capitalist is Justine Casaliers, and she's from Daphni. Please, Justine, go ahead.
Yes. Let me share my screen. Here it is. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. I'm Justine Casaliers. I'm representing Daphni today, and I'm really glad to be here and excited to present it in front of Spanish people, as I previously studied in SAD. So I lived for 4 years in Barcelona, so I would love to invest in Catalonian startups, really, personally. For those who don't know Daphni, it's a VC fund based in Paris, created in 2015. It doesn't work. I can't switch my, hold on. Now it's working. Okay, cool. So, yes, we have launched our first fund is the Purple Fund, through which we invested 170 million euros in 28 startups. Here's a map of all the investment we've made. You might know Back Market, you might know Agricool, Memo Bank, Swile, and since September in 2020, we have launched a new fund, the Yellow Fund, and through which we will invest 150 million euros. We already made investment in 10 startups. 5 of them are public. You might know Leocare, Upcycle, Stockley. It's all French investment, but we would love to invest in Spain and all over Europe and other. And what is really special in our VC is that we've built ourselves around a community, and we built all our processes around a community. So this is the team working in Daphni. At Daphni, I forgot to mention that for the last fund, the Yellow Fund, we've merged with the China team, represented by Marc Simonsini and Charles Retranier. And so among that community, we have 300 people, and divided into three, like experts, 100 experts, 100 entrepreneurs, and 100 investors. And it helps us investing in every sectors, because we don't pretend to know everything on everything. So we go and ask our community what they think about a tendency or another startups that we are talking to. And it brings more transparency and more add value for the investors and the entrepreneurs. And regarding our thesis investments, so as I already said, we invest in every sectors, and we usually invest between 500,000 euros to 5 million euros in the first ticket, mostly in early stage, so seed, pre-seed, and Series A. And what we like is having a good impact in our in the consumer. So we really have a huge spectrum tech for good. So now you know more about Daphni. So I'm be glad to answer all the questions and hear all the entrepreneurs' speeches. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justine. Very, very interesting what you're doing, and also your colorful description of your portfolio. Okay, so now we have and the last VC, we have Itziar Estevez from Iris Capital, and she's going to share with us their investment criteria and also what value they provide to startups. Please, Itziar, the screen is yours, and we can see your presentation, not in full screen mode.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Just get the setup right. Now it should work. Hi, everyone. My name is Itziar Estevez. I'm actually originally from Spain, from the Basque Country. So I'm really glad to be here today and to connect with the Catalonian ecosystem. I work for Iris Capital. We are a European venture capital fund with offices in Paris, in Berlin, and in Munich. We've been around for a long time with several fund generations. We have more than 600 million euro assets under management. We are backed by both institutional but also some corporate investors. And we invest across stages, from early stage to late stage, mainly tickets between 1 and 20 million euros. So our team is split across Germany and France, with expertise across stages, but we also have a support team and some touch points in other geographies. In terms of topics, we are a technology investor, so we have really a broad range of technologies and trends that we back. And maybe to give you some examples, I've picked a few companies from our portfolio that are quite representative, many of which also have an AI angle. So for example, in the insurance space, Shift Technology, which I think was on Antoine's presentation, coming from the AI applied to fraud detection and now evolving into claim automation. Another company in that area on the top right is Monk, which is actually coming from machine vision and is applying that to detect car damages, also for insurance. Another big topic for us is supply chain and logistics with Exotech in France on the warehouse automation topic, and Photo in Germany also recently made a unicorn, I think last month. It's a digital freight forwarding company. We have a cluster also of companies in the area of, I would say, enterprise software, where we have a lot of expertise, cross-vertical. So just to highlight a few, Lean IX in the area of enterprise architecture management, Kyriba for treasury, or for example, also JEDOCs for enterprise planning and reporting are some example of those. And in those, we typically push a lot in the area of scaling and internationalization. And maybe two more topics where we have a lot of history are ad tech and marketing with Adjust, also Talon One in Germany, a promotion engine company. Some examples, and finally mobility, where we have Virtuo in France, and this is a bit of an exotic one in the Middle East, Karim, which got acquired by Uber recently. So this is just to show that we focus a lot on internationalization and cross-border investments, and many of the topics we back have an advanced analytics component. So some of those companies are at its essence AI, machine learning, but others are just really advanced on that dimension to support their purpose. And so I'm really looking forward to the pitches right now, and also looking forward to expanding the network in Catalonia in particular.
Thank you very much, Itziar. It was an impressive portfolio. So now we have we're running a bit late, okay, but we have time for one question, which is for Breega. So Camille, I don't know if you can read the question. If not, I'm gonna ask it to you.
Yes, I could read the question, and absolutely. So as I mentioned, we are very generalist VC at this stage, but we do a lot of deep tech, so which includes AI topics, and we are extremely interested into digital health, into the digital health sector. As of today, we've done only one small deal into a digital health company that is a UK company called Humanity, and that is providing people with health insights based on blood test results. So that's the only proper health deal that we have done, but really looking forward to meeting AI startups focused on digital health.
Okay, Camille, so if we don't have more questions, I just would like to thank Ubaldo, Camille, Vincent, Justine, and Itziar, and also Antoine, that made us know much better the artificial intelligence ecosystem in France, and which is very close to Catalonia. So we have some, we are closer, so that we hope that we're going to increase the relationships between ecosystems. And now the investors are going to move to a private pitching session that the companies that are going to pitch are those ones that you see in my screen. Okay, and well, thank you very much, and we're going to go to the private session. Thank you.